in summary, what I'm saying here is that you've got this idea being promoted by some people that in order to have financial independence and achieve financial independence, I'm going to avoid entangling myself with being married or having a spouse and this kind of thing. For some people, it's a choice.
I'm guessing.
Another video on living on $1,000 a month. Now the $1,000 a month figure, again, it's a rounded figure. It could be $1,100, $1,200, it could be $960 or $940, or it could be $920. Don't take any of these figures as written in stone. It's just a roundabout figure somewhere in there. The beauty of this is this, that, this day and age of social media, it's almost impossible to find a completely original idea. And that's because a good idea simply is. If it's a good idea, then it's out there. It always has been out there. And it may not be getting a lot of traction because a lot of things sparkle and sprinkle and they're more attractive sounding. But the reality is that when you look into things more, there's a lot more to it than it appears in the beginning. And one of them is that even this figure can be made even easier. Like if you have two people working in the home, then each one only has to bring in $500 to the table if that's the way you want to do it. If you have that scenario where people like to, for example, where they have some kind of activities going on where they're producing something, or they can just simply produce things together, like we produce the videos together. We produce videos together as a husband and wife, and that's one way to make even that figure, even if it was $1,000 or even $1,500, whether it's $1,000 or $1,500, there's not a big change, especially when you're doing it as a team and you're putting in a 50% effort, let's just say, in one way or another. Then it becomes a $500 effort and a $750 effort. And this is not about shucking work or being lazy, or a lot of times people think, well, you're just being lazy or you're this or that. It's not about that. It's especially when you're raising a family, having a balanced life, being a stay-at-home dad, all things that we've done. Being a stay-at-home dad, being home, homeschooling, all these things that require, a dedication to the support of the idea of family values. So being able to maintain healthy, balanced, healthy relationships, I'm seeing the unbalance in people's lives play out in a way that seems it seems right, it seems okay, but in reality, there's a better way. It's like, well, I'm doing all these sacrifices, and I so that I can get ahead financially, but the reality is that when you have speaking of married couples and marriage, because that's what we are, we're married and we're a family. And so, but I'm seeing these people that are making decisions not to perhaps be married or have a family because of finances. And I think that's one of those ideas that on the surface sounds like the right thing. And of course there's caveats, because when you've got a team, the team can't have players that are each doing their own thing. That's not a team. The team is going to disperse, and if the team being the husband and the wife, being a team of two, they have to be a team. Otherwise, if they're just going in separate directions, then it causes the conflict. And this is the conflict that people try to avoid by saying that they've made this choice not to have this part of life, and that is to have the mate that God intended for you to have.
What are some of the blessings that come to mind to you? I would like to say like one blessing, I think.
one blessing right away and then turn it over to you. One of the things that I know is, like when I was reading about this family that was made a choice and a decision to live aboard a sailboat and sail around the world. And you know how small, even a large sailboat, I mean, well, this wasn't like a 100-foot yacht. I mean, obviously that would be very roomy, but this is more like a 40-foot yacht, and it's pretty confined. I mean, when you have children too, you know. So one of the things that the lady said, and she was being interviewed on this blog, and what she responded was interesting. She was asked about how do you do that? I mean, how are you 24/7 in such an enclosed space like that? I mean, don't you ever like get on each other's bad side and stuff? And her answer was, well, that's exactly why it works, because we are together in a confined space. That causes us to have to talk it out. See, that's what she said. She said, we have to talk it out, and therefore we settle it. We settle things quickly. And you know, that's scriptural. The parallel was that for those of us, for the benefits of being home-based and being together, is that when we do have disagreements or maybe step on each other's toes, we know that the sensible thing to do is to settle it and make peace, because you're going to be in the house with that person, tomorrow and tonight.
And I mean, I'll tell you though, this is not a comfortable conversation right now, because in this day and age, with society the way it is, it becomes very challenging to find proper mate material, proper spouse, just to have the availability of a proper spouse. Now, it can be done. It can be done. In summary, what I'm saying here is that you've got this idea being promoted by some people that in order to have financial independence and achieve financial independence, I'm going to avoid entangling myself with being married or having a spouse and this kind of thing. For some people, it's a choice, and it can be the right choice and a good choice. But where I'm coming from on this is that it's not the complete picture. It's not completely true. It's not exclusive of marriage. In other words, if we are to say that you're going to have the right spouse, and that the right spouse would be the one that you're right for each other, to where you're a team effort, to where you're a team that's well constructed, as we've discussed, and therefore it's a team effort, it truly is a team effort, then it becomes that much easier. Life becomes that much easier, and that's the way it was designed, for life to be easier, because as much as there are people that would like you to believe otherwise, we actually do need each other in so many ways. Just like a rich man with a pile of gold and silver, on a deserted island doesn't achieve anything. In the same way, you can't really paint a brush one way and say, well, things are this way, and so with the proper spouse and the team effort, life can be easier. And when you're working together, life is easier. And an extension of that is that this whole idea of deprivation and austerity for all these years to achieve something, it becomes even more unnecessary when you have a team effort where you're working together to have the balanced life, the retire early lifestyle together. Anyway, hope you got something out of that. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Have a wonderful day.